And, I think ultimately the pivot that's going to work for these MLSs is not bending the knee to every single threat that comes in, but taking an actual position. This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 407 of The Real Word.
Word is up.
Google re-entering the listing portal game. Google's listings, their real estate listings, are back. So Mike Del Prete, very respected. Nicole, you and I have talked about Mike in the past and some of his research. Super respected, super analytical. His research library has stated that, hey, Google's brought back real estate listings to search results. This is a partnership, and you may have caught this, last year, at the end of last year, their partnership with House Canary, okay, eXp Realty, NCR MLS, all the major partnerships here feeding Google's real estate listings. This is a move that signals growing competition over listing distribution. Brokers maybe gaining more control over where inventory appears online. Certainly, really for the first time in the last 2 decades, you see brokers entering the chat, so to speak, on, hey, I want some control over how the listings are distributed, where they're distributed. The fights that are going on right now. So Google's listings return after a test. They disappeared following that initial test last December. The current rollout looks like this: full property detail pages, links to request a tour, contact agent functionality. So this is not unlike any other portal. Listing maps in some cases. The experience is currently powered by House Canary's Come Home portal. Okay, it's live in only select markets right now. Available only on mobile devices, which is probably, Nicole, where most people are searching mobilely, I would imagine, when they're searching for a home. Launch markets, current launch markets are Miami, New York, Cleveland, Chicago, Austin, Texas, San Francisco, LA. So some of the big major markets, listing sources, they appear to be sourced directly. Okay, so direct feeds. This is something that eXp got really right, I believe, over the last 6 months, is controlling the feed a little bit. eXp Realty, direct feed. CRMLS in California, direct feed. It's one of the nation's largest MLSs. Okay. The listings shown are not limited to eXp Realty, coming soon listings. It's all the listings. Google is displaying all listings available through the partnership. House Canary and eXp partnership probably secured a new and more durable listing agreement for this role. I don't know, but likely they did. The agreements appear to be direct to broker relationships. Okay. Remember, eXp previously did a non-exclusive partnership that involved, they're coming soon. But this one appears to be direct feed. Leo Pareja commented on this, eXp Realty CEO. Let's go to his Instagram comments that really add a little bit more color to their partnership on top of this Mike Del Prete research on the Google listing relaunch.
We announced we were sending our coming soons to Homes and Realtor, as well as Google via House Canary. The beta with Google is now live. We are sending all of our active listings for both eXp and NextHome throughout the country. If you go and search homes for sale in Miami, in Austin, in Chicago, in Cleveland, in the greater New York City area, you will see all of our active and coming soons. If you search all of Southern California, you'll actually see the entire MLS feed via CRMLS. Kudos to CRMLS for getting in front of this. So instead of trying to figure out how to create walled gardens and exclusivity only found on one place, our single obsession over here is how do we get every one of our listings in front of as many buyers and sellers to benefit the consumer with the least amount of friction.
Okay, so Leo's approach, EXP's approach, pretty clear there. There's a super divide here. You know, you got some portals on this side. You obviously have others on another side that it's like, hey, it's okay to restrict access on some listings. Leo's on the other side where it's like, it's not okay. You know, he's of the strong belief. Obviously, James Dwiggins now in the fold at leadership with EXP acquiring Nexome, both fully aligned that all listings should be exposed to all buyers, good for all buyers, good for the industry. You know, that's the position there. And so staying with that position, going back to Mike Del Preti's research, here's the bottom line as he puts it in his post. Okay. I'm going to read directly from Del Preti on what he considers that, you know, being the bottom line on just the overall fight and battle right now, as well as, you know, this particular partnership. Going back a few decades, real estate listings were hidden and decentralized. Okay. You know, you go back into the MLS book days. The portals made them visible and centralized. Central location, very visible. Okay. So those are the difference within two. Now, what's happening now, right now, 2026? Now, with exclusive inventory, MLS is going national, Google entering the field, and the emergence of AI, the four big waves converging at the same time, we seem to be entering a world where listings are visible, but starting to become decentralized or multi-homed. So decentralized making a comeback, which seems outdated and clunky. Brokerages now have multiple distribution options. And when agents and brokers can multi-home their listings, distributors begin to compete on value, with power starting to flow back to whoever owns the listing. So that's Del Preti's bottom line. You see this fight playing out in other areas, of course. You see today, in fact, Nicole, I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but today, MRED, who on April 24th, Chicago area MLS opened up access to agents nationwide, so going national with their MLS. Compass obviously agreed to share its full inventory feed. They made a deal. You know, MRED, who last week was sued along with Zillow, along with Compass by Zillow for colluding, they today it's supposed to happen. I have BAMX members that reach out to me on DM on school. They're like, this is not good for me. They today are supposedly banning Zillow's listings. And, you know, I had one DM was like, this is crazy. Like, Zillow's important to my sellers. And now because I'm an MRED subscriber, my feed to Zillow is being cut off today. Got to figure out a workaround, get it obviously posted onto Zillow. Bright MLS did a deal similar to MRED. They added Compass's full nationwide inventory feed. So the control of the feed, the data, as one Compass agent put it in comments recently, this is all about data. This is a Compass agent who's kind of on the other side of what Compass is pushing here. It's all about the data. Agents can increasingly right now access listings outside traditional MLS footprints. Bright MLS joining this kind of MRED play, and more MLS partnerships are expected as competition over this listing distribution continues to intensify. Nicole White jumping back in for the Racket Round presented by...
I feel like there's always like steam coming out of my brain. Like there's so much to follow.
There's a lot going on. That's for sure.
I'm definitely on Team Leo though. Like, come on, let's like make this frictionless, put it everywhere. I mean, who doesn't like a good Google search? Let's go.
Yeah. Nicole White, Racket Round presented by Reminder Media. Separate yourself with Reminder Media. Nicole, I love seeing your magazine every time I'm in Connecticut in my mailbox. It's just, it's great. All right.
It makes your day, huh?
It does make my day. It's a separator.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. So if listings can now live everywhere, MLS, Google, brokerage sites, portals, AI search, does exclusivity matter, or does it just make it more confusing for consumers?
Well, they can live everywhere, but will they live everywhere? You know, what Del Preti's talking about is going back to some kind of decentralized, you know, industry on listings, multi-homed. Well, if the listing doesn't live everywhere, undoubtedly it's more confusing for consumers. No
Right.
question about it. And don't give me this crap that, well, you can just go into AI and be like, send me all the listings from everywhere. Listen, if the listings are not in all places, it will be more confusing. It's very simple. You know, that does not take a rocket science. Now, if you're on the side of gatekeeping listings behind a reg wall, there can be a direct benefit, obviously, to that person that is gatekeeping.
Right.
You know, although I think that is going to be a little fadey, and I'm not talking about going to the barber. I'm just saying I think it's going to be a fade. You know, not high and tight. Just it's going to come and go. As the market kind of figures that out, the market's going to win here, right? Ultimately, the market will win. The consumer will say, oh, I like having to jump through hoops to find all listings, or the market's going to say that, you know, I don't like this at all. And you'll find decision makers shift towards where the market shifts to. But it's a play right now that's very disruptive. It's a play that's being used as leverage to bring more control on the data, on the feed. And so, yeah, I think basically common sense would tell you, so of course, consumers are more confused if they got to go 5 places instead of finding everything everywhere.
All right. Number 2, with all the new MLS announcements lately, what does the local MLS look like 5 years from now?
The ones that actually pivot right now will look completely different. The ones that don't pivot right now will not look like anything because they will not exist. I was
In
talking
5
to
years.
in 5 years.
Yeah.
I was talking to a broker yesterday. Very successful broker.
Any hints?
No hints.
Okay.
I'll tell you after.
Okay.
But, you know, talked a lot about local MLSs pivoting, but that they will survive. I agree with I agree with the first part. The ones that survive, I agree with the first part. They're going to have to pivot in a major way. The local MLSs, because they've taken their directive from NAR for so long, NAR gives the directive to the local boards. Local boards influence these local MLSs. There's been a tie-in effect. There's been groupthink for many, many years. And because that groupthink was non-innovative, very scarcity mindset, you see this in our industry a lot. Oh, that company we don't want to see BAM grow because it might impact our company. We see this at BAM all the time. Okay. Oh, BAM can't keep growing that way because that crosses over to what we do. That scarcity mindset that NAR has had for a long time. Okay, well, local MLSs have taken that directive and now they're outdated. They're non-innovators and they're weak and they're making weak decisions. This weakness is like creating a scared next step. Oh, I got to listen to XYZ broker because they make up X of my subscribers. And I don't want to lose the position as the MLS CEO, as the MLS board that I have become accustomed to. And so they're very weak. I think the ones that pivot, make smart decisions right now, they're going to be here in 5 years. But these national MLSs, that they're coming for you. I'm not sure you just want to pivot. You know, some little tiny local MLS can't pivot to national. I think pivoting and getting in alignment with brokers that align with your members' way of thinking is probably going to be one of those moves, but there'll be a lot less of them in 5 years. That's for sure.
So I'm curious though, and maybe this is like a completely different show because you keep on saying how they need to. Do you have like specific ways that you think that they need to change? Like do you have like you're saying they need to pivot, but like how? Like, is there anything
Yeah.
specific? And we don't have to answer that now. I'm
No,
just curious.
listen,
Because
again, I think
saying it, but how do you like what?
I think you've got to, it's going to start with who's going to control these MLSs. The ownership, if you listen to Stefan Swanepoel talk about ownership of MLSs, it's very complicated in a lot of cases. A lot of the boards on the MLSs, you have 4 small brokers, 4 medium, 4 large. Okay. And if you look at those lists in your MLS, you're like, these aren't, I don't even know how they're categorizing this. And so the influence within those boards right now, a lot of the decisions are being made on,
What's best for them?
What's best for them.
Yeah.
Individually, the individual board members and the CEO. The CEO on these MLSs is collecting a very nice paycheck and doesn't want the shot clock to run out on it. Okay. Now, if the wrong brokerage owned the MLS, you can imagine how that can be used. The problem here is we're going through this massive deregulation. I mean, it's like, if you have an issue right now, is your local board even worth going and trying to police it?
I've never utilized the local board like that.
Yeah, but now they're so much weaker even now. Okay.
Yeah.
So the pivot that these MLSs have to make is really one centered around how are they making decisions? There needs to be a leadership pivot. They are old, outdated, and stale. There needs to be true
or the way. Mm-hmm.
There needs to be true leadership from these MLSs. Okay. And I think ultimately the pivot that's going to work for these MLSs is not bending the knee to every single threat that comes in, but taking an actual position. And then there's some of the low-hanging fruit. Tech is, really important to be tech forward. If brokers are going to be able to create a better solution on direct feeds and their tech's better, then why would an agent, utilize that? But the pivot has to come on strong leadership that's willing to make tough decisions. Tech is going to be more of a table stake.
Okay. Number 3. Could Google integrating listings into Gemini completely change how consumers search for homes and agents? Would it be a real competitor to Zillow?
I mean, listen, Google can be a real competitor with anybody.
Agreed.
Okay. Google was way behind the AI race when ChatGPT, first kind of came out and was gaining share. Google was way behind. And there was podcasts that I would listen to talking about AI where it's like, man, Google's way behind. They're never going to catch up. And then they have so much, users and data and, they're built in with Gmail and the whole entire Google suite. Like it's a part of everybody's lives. They caught up with Gemini AI extremely fast. I mean, I don't know about you, Nicole. Every time I use Google, I go to AI mode on the top left. It's the best Google experience I've ever had is using Gemini. And so, can Google be a real competitor to Zillow? Yeah, of course. And obviously they can be a competitor to anybody they want. Let's just go to quickly Alphabet, Google's market cap, Nicole, is $4.73 trillion, if you can fathom that number. $4.73 trillion. Zillow's market cap is 8 right now. It is down significantly. Zillow's market cap is 8.23 billion.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I don't even know how to, let's do a quick Google search. What percent is 8.3 billion of $4.7 trillion? You know, it's going to be like less than 1% or something. It is less than 1%, right? It's approximately 0.18%. Okay, so Zillow is not even a fly, not even a gnat, not even a grain of sand.
I don't know. There's a lot of gnats out here right now.
They're not a grain of sand in comparison to Google. Google can do whatever they want. So yeah, listen, Zillow's business was built on the back of Google ads a couple decades ago. Taking that traffic, it was Google ads, and it was more creativity than any broker had for multiple decades, with the Zestimate, interest, a hook, getting people onto their platform. Yeah, Google can definitely compete. Tom Ferry just did a video saying, hey, if your business isn't listed on GLS, Google Local Services, do it. He's been talking about it for a long time. Shout out to TF on that. When he's talking about this, on Instagram, he's talking about this whole story that we just covered. You definitely want to be relevant on Google. 1, for AI search. 2, for, hey, what if Google becomes a major competitor? They certainly can. Nicole?
Yeah. So I guess maybe I'm confused and maybe I'm the only one. So why did Google get out of this game?
Well, they didn't get out of it. They did a test run last year. Obviously, there was some things with the test run, probably
That didn't work.
I would imagine focused around the connecting of the agent. That didn't work. And Google what Google's going to do algorithmically, if that's even a word.
It is today.
Is they're going to bump GLS providers down, as they do, that don't answer the phone and don't provide great service. So, they have the GLS services. They make money off of that. They're going to connect. They're starting with listing agents. They're probably figuring that whole process out, I would imagine, from the test run last year to now reopening. Okay, how are we getting the connections? What do buyers want in a connection? Do they, not what do the agents want? They don't give a crap what you want. Google's going to care about what do our users want. They're going to think more. They're going to think about this more the way Zillow has historically. What do our users, the consumer, telling us that they want? I don't know. Obviously, I don't know anybody at Google, but I would imagine that they pulled that down based on, we did this test. We found out this wasn't working. We reworked it.
Yeah.
Now we're launching back into these markets.
Let's go. Go
Google. Get your Google t-shirt.
I mean, I feel like Google's like Q-tip and like Kleenex, it's like, oh, I tell my kids all the time. They're like, Mom, I'm like, I don't know, Google it, like.
It is, it owns the search category, and it's still in the race. Listen, everybody, ChatGPT has become the word for consumers that resonates most with AI, but Google's very much in the AI race. The AI race is what, in the first or second inning, if that?
Yeah, if that.
Google's got a ton of cash to do anything they want. If they want to go after real estate in a meaningful way, I don't think it's going to be like, if Google spends $1 billion, which is nothing for them, they could spend Zillow's market cap and nobody would notice. They could spend Zillow's market cap, 8 billion plus, and nobody at Alphabet would notice. That's what Google can do. So it's not like CoStar, Homes.com spending $1 billion and then having to pull back because they didn't get the results they want.
Right.
Google could spend $8 billion. No, nobody would notice at Google. We spent $8 billion? Didn't even know that. And what could $8 billion do? It could do a lot of disruption. So we'll see how aggressively Google wants to do it. But, like TF said in that video, you should be prepared. You understand Google listing services. You should be going all in on what Google can do for your business, solo, team, whatever you are. It should be very relevant to you right now. All
And
right.
that's it.
There you go, Nicole. Next week, coming out of the holiday, I think we'll do a reward. We should.
I'm around. I don't got anything.
Coming out of the Memorial Day holiday. Everybody have a great week. Keep it real. We'll see you on Google.
See you guys.
So if you watch Netflix, they're doing something right now with all their content that speaks to how consumers are getting information, how people hear information, see information. They're taking the big part of the story and they're repeating it 7-8 times. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck just spoke about this. Every movie, they're kind of watering it down for lack of attention. Your consumers are feeling the same way. There's so much information coming out at them. How do you break through? Well, you don't do it with just showing up on a single postcard once a month when they're already receiving 10. Stand out. That's why agents like Nicole White, who are standing out in their local markets, are using Reminder Media's personalized magazines. Gives you an opportunity to tell a longer story, something people keep. They don't chuck a magazine like they will a postcard. Reminder Media, check them out for a way to stand out and get in front of your consumers. You need to do it more than one way. It's phone call, it's text, it's email. Yes, it's social. It's all of it. Show up in the mailbox with something that they can use that's going to stay on the table. Tell a longer story. Reminder Media, there's a BAM code to try it out. Try it out today. Hey, our clients are in this never-ending brain fog right now of what to do, which way to go in the market. We talk about this every single week, how to solve for it, the skills that are working right now inside of our community, BAMX on School. We've opened it up for Real Word listeners to try it out for free for the next 7 days. Go to the link down below or go to school.com/BAMX and try the community out for the next 7 days. Join me on the role play masterminds every week to get the skills that are working right now in this brain fog market.